there's anything that's part of my sound gear-wise, it would be the design of this guitar, because it was just from the first day I picked it up. You know, it's a story you hear every guitar player say about their main acts. I mail ordered it, so when it showed up, I was taking a risk, and I pulled it out, and the second I lifted it up, I was like, that's the right weight, and I put my hand around the neck, and this has that, again, back to 1959, this has that slim neck they were making in '59 on all the ESs. So this guitar, I bought it from a music store online in it was 2001 or 02, and I think that's the year it was made. It's a Gibson Custom Shop 336. And I know Gibson's always changing things. They're always going through changes. So I think there were a couple years where they made this guitar a very specific way. They were advertising it as being tonally carved at the time, was the phrase. And the idea was the inside is like the inside of an L5 archtop guitar, but sort of shrunk down to the size. And I mean, it's a normal semi-hollow otherwise. But I have replaced a lot of the electronics and the parts in it just to make it a little bit more road friendly. But this has been my main guitar ever since about 2002, so it's seen a lot of miles. So these pickups are made by this cat. It's a company called Whiz Pickups, W-I-Z-Z. And he hand makes them, and I got turned on to him by this friend of mine, Richard Brent, who runs the Allman Brothers Big House Museum in Macon. And I was, I've been on a quest for, 59 PAFs for a long time, and those can be $2,000 to $4,000. So I was asking Richard what he recommended, and he said that he heard that this guy does the best ones, and I would have to agree. I was at the Gibson factory a couple years ago in Memphis, where they keep all the ESs. And they had the Freddie King signature model. And I noticed that I never knew that Freddie used to reverse his back pickup, his bridge pickup. So the magnet is a little bit closer to the middle. And that warms up the bridge pickup as well. So I started doing that after I saw that, because Freddie's like my hero, man. So I flipped that. My bridge pickup magnet is flipped kind of backwards. My new solo record was recorded half in Memphis, half in Muscle Shoals. So in Memphis, we used Howard Grimes, Charles, and Leroy Hodges, the high rhythm section, to play on it. Those are the guys who played on, Al Green's Let's Stay Together and Love and Happiness, and so many of those great albums from Memphis in the 60s and 70s. And then the other half we did in Muscle Shoals at Fame Studios, which is where I also recorded the last Gregg Allman record, Southern Blood. That's how we got to know them. And on my record, I had Spooner Oldham come in and play keys, who of course is, playing on all those Aretha Franklin records, and David Hood on bass, who's on thousands of hits. I'll Take You There, he's playing bass on that. And then in Muscle Shoals, we got to use our friend Chad Gamble to play drums, who's been with Jason Isbell since the beginning, and they're good buddies of ours. So it was really, it was like a dream list of talent, and they're all songs I wrote and sing, and it's really my first time where I get to step out from the shadow of working with Gregg and, do my own thing full time. The Big House Museum, who I mentioned before, and Richard Brent, they brought Duane Allman's 1957 Gold Top, the one he played on Layla and the first two Allman Brothers records. They brought that to the sessions in Muscle Shoals. And of course, he used to cut in Muscle Shoals with that guitar as well. So they brought the guitar, and I used that guitar for 4 or 5 songs. And then I used this guitar for the lead on the rest of the record. When I was doing rhythm guitar on the record, I used my Telecaster. I have it's kind of a mongrel it's made from 2 different Telecasters, and it's got a great rhythm sound. So we cut the record live on the floor with the band. So it was me playing rhythm guitar, singing the final lead vocal live with the rhythm section. So all that went down at once. Yeah, and when I was doing that, I was playing the telly. And then I wanted to kind of craft the guitar tones on this record. I wanted to pay very special attention to getting the right sound. So obviously this guitar, Duane Allman's Gold Top, were in the front of the amp, and then the Telecaster for rhythm. And then I had 2 amps set up the whole time running in parallel when I was doing the lead guitar overdubs. And that was always a 50s Tweed Twin Deluxe with 112 and my Vibrolux reverb, 66 Vibrolux reverb, running in parallel. And I only used, I used a fuzz pedal on one song, and that's the only effect on the, everything is straight into the amp with the amps on about 7 for the lead guitar sounds. You know, when you find the right guitar, it just feels like it kind of becomes part of your anatomy, you know?